Hi, this is Claire again with the English version of the video, and of course it's Halloween, it's Samhain season, it's Allerseelen, Allerheiligen as we call this in German, and I have Little Reaper. We already had this little lovely guy. It is from Art by Vikram. This is an artist who does this Little Reaper and other stuff. You can buy his stuff at Etsy. He has an Etsy store, and I think Etsy could sponsor me. I'm saying so much about them. But they have all these great artists, these people with lovely ideas, and this is one of them. We already had him. Here is the evolution of Little Reaper. Very, very cute. So I like these things. I like this stuff, which is with, I think you say in English, tongue in the cheek a little bit funny, but also a little bit not sad, but serious. It's a mix somehow. So I really love this little guy, and I've already drawn the cards in the German version of the video. But first, I want to show you some, so you have an impression. It's really, if you like things that are a little bit black humor, we call this, will work for souls. If you have a black humor, as we call this in German, then you will like it. It's really a lovely one. And we already had him in a reading, and what is funny about it is that we already had this card in this reading. So this is like a topic showing up again. And I thought this would be very suitable for this season of the ancestors, of the people gone before us. So to say, it is a serious topic. I don't want to sugarcoat it, but you also have to see that cultures have very different approaches toward it. Everyone these days knows the Dia de los Muertos, and different approaches from various cultures all over the world, which are not very similar to us, and who are also, we will talk about this when this card shows up, when we talk about this, who also have a culture of community and things around the dead. And in community, everything is much more easier. And here in Germany, we are also having classical Western culture when it comes to these topics. So you don't speak about this not too often, only when the topic comes to it, when speaking to it. But it's more like a private thing. Everyone is doing it emotionally with himself. So this is, it's not so easy. It's not so easy, and I think it's not a very healthy approach, and we will talk about this. So let's start first. Here we have our Little Reaper with all these owls in a tree, and this is when you are coming from a symbolic, as a people or as a person thinking in symbols and in mystery, mythology and history and all of this, then you see many symbols here. Of course, our Little Reaper. Yes, but we also have the owls, and we have kind of a tree of life. And this is very, very interesting for this season especially. So the tree of life is a symbolic symbol for the three worlds in shamanism. And many things today are said to be shamanism, which are actually not shamanism. I would say 90% are not shamanism, classical shamanism. But there are many things in this world, and I don't want to judge, because everything that helps people is helpful. Yeah. So when we think about the tree of life, it's like a model, so to say. We have the sky world and we have the underworld for the ancestors. And this is interesting because the underworld is seen as below. And we know this from fairy tales like Mother Holle. Mother Holle is an old ancient goddess, when you can even take her back into Neolithic times. Research does this. They have found out that you can trace her back into Neolithic times. And there we have this model also in the fairy tale. The little girl is in the she falls into the water of the I say source, it's not the correct English word, it's Brunnen. But she falls into the water after the spindle down into the underworld. But when she is there, she is in the clouds. They are making weather. They are making snow with puffing the clouds with Mother Holle together. So they are obviously in heaven. She was also a weather goddess. So this is very interesting, and it shows us that in classical shamanistic thinking, everything is interconnected. It is not like a cake with layers. It's just a symbol, and a tree is a wonderful symbol to show that all of this is interconnected. It is in fact one thing. It is just that you have different realms, so to say. It's just for the human mind to easier to describe everything. Yeah. So when we come back to this, we see here a symbol of shamanic interconnectedness. Let's call it like that. And we see, of course, our little owls. And owls are also a very, very ancient symbol. You know, have them from Athena, the goddess of wisdom. She brought many arts to people. She brought many traits to people. She is also, of course, the wisdom goddess. There is a saying like bringing owls to Athens, to the city, because there was a very big sanctuary of her, and everyone brought owls there as a votive offering. And yes, owls are also connected to death in European lore. They are, and also worldwide, as I know it. They are also in Africa and South America. They are also, and also in Siberia and so on. They are omens of death, of the afterlife, of the dark goddess aspects that are also connected to witchcraft, to wisdom, and to intuition, knowing, foreknowing. All of this it is a very magical bird. And the interesting thing is that you can trace owls back also into Neolithic times, into Stone Age, so to say. There are many depictions of birds like owls. The classical form, as you have it, the shape of an urn, as it is described. You have the eyes that are like little suns, that are very exaggerated in these old depictions of owls. And there is often a goddess and bird connection in these days. So you also have goddesses with bird heads and all of this in Neolithic times. So it is very, very ancient. Yeah, we have the clever owl. We have like owls on books and libraries as symbols until today. So you can trace this back really into ancient times. And this is so interesting about symbols. When you look a little deeper, you find these connections to our ancestors. And ancestors is the topic of this season. So I have said it before in German texts I've written. You just have to think about it. Ancestors are the people until Neolithic times, until beginning dawn of humanity. And you, yourself, your body, this what is here, yourself, is from these people. It is an unbroken chain, because otherwise you would not be here. And you just have to think about what happened in these days, because this is also a Samhain, Halloween reading, so to say. I just want to talk about these topics a little bit too. I hope it doesn't annoy you. But it is an unbroken chain, and think about what they had to manage, all the diseases in these times, the accidents that might happen that we won't have today. Yeah, with all of the life, like going for hunt in these days. And if this chain was interrupted, you would not be here. And this was a thought to myself that was like, wow, and look what they have gone through. What they have, all these wars. You have 30 years war in Europe, you have the world wars, you have much more things in the past, in medieval times, back into Roman times, back into all of that, yeah, where the average age of a person, a male person, was about like 40 or something like that, and women even shorter because of giving birth and all the problems that could happen with it. So it's really a time to think also about the strength and the endurance and all of that our ancestors had, so we could be here today. And this is so inspiring when you are in a personal time of crisis, maybe to think about these people, and you are really made from that. Yeah, it's not symbolic. People are today, especially in spiritual things, are always talking about, oh, this is so symbolic, this is symbolic. No, most things are real if you think about them a little bit longer. So this is something you can touch. Your body is here. Yeah. So this is something I just wanted to add. But yes, when we are with the body and all of these things, some people are of course out of body right now, and in the past. We also find this in old embroideries, in old symbols, in old paintings. You have the birds in the tree of life, and these are the souls of the people who don't have a body right now, so to say. These are maybe they want to come back, maybe they want to incorporate, no, how you say, to come into a body again. I don't know how to say this in English. To incarnate, this is it. Maybe they want to incarnate again, but now they are in the realm of the tree of life, so to say, when we want to say it in the old ways of our ancestors. So come back to this card and all the symbolism. We have to talk about it enough now. When we come back, this is a card about wisdom. It is about your ancestors and about shamanic interconnectedness. Yeah, and if you like me, you like a little practical approach, try to have a little owl around you for the next week. Maybe like a power animal, maybe like a little inspirer, maybe like a connection to the ancestors, to the Athena, to whatever you like, but as a symbol of this old chain of knowledge, old chain also of bodies somehow, yes, of ancestors, and that you are interconnected to this. You are connected. You are not alone. You are in a web of experiences of people who are in a body right now, people who are not in a body right now, but you are not alone. And the wisdom of our ancestors is, no matter if you know them, yeah, in Europe, I know this, in Northern America, this is a topic, but also in Europe, this is a topic. There were so many migrations here, so many wars and all of this. Nobody in Europe, at least here in Germany, we are in the middle of it. So most people do not know exactly what their ancestors were. And so this is a nice feeling of being in connection. A connection nobody can take away from you, because you are the embodiment of this. Really, it's not symbolic. You are the real embodiment of this connection. So, yes, I can talk about this for hours. So we should step on to the next card, or the reading will never finish. We already had this card in the previous reading. I'm pretty sure it was there. And this is, of course, you see these friends. It is about connection to people, to also pets, for example. Maybe it is also about your pets you had to let go, and you are remembering in this day, because pets are like family on four legs, we say in German. So many people who do not have pets, of course, they cannot feel this. They are something bewildered, like, what are these pet people talking about? They are strange. But if you have this and you have this connection, you know how it feels. And this can go so deep. I know this from my own experience. We had a male cat and his passing was very dramatical. It is 6 years ago. It was 6 years ago, but when I'm thinking too long of him, the tears are coming up. Yeah, this is still so big in my life. And so I can understand this. It is sometimes mourning. I think you say mourning in English. It takes its own ways. It has its own tempo. It's not the same at every time. And so this can be about pets, but it can also be like being connected to your close friends, talking about the topic of death, maybe about your loved ones you have lost, also your family maybe. Because when you come like me from a Western culture, it's customary not to talk about it. It is like everyone does it in private. And so this is something I really think is so nice. We also have this in Europe, in some regions where there is or in Romania, for example, there is a very active cult, but not cult in a negative way, around the deaf people. So they are into into their community still, like in Mexico. They are still remembered, but it is not just funny in Mexico, for example. It's not just funny, I think. It's also about remembering. It's also about the pain, about the hurt, about everything. It's not like we are having just a fiesta, so to say. It's just fun. It is also the tears and all of that. But when you have the fiesta, you can feel all of this. You can also feel the love, because grief in a way is one of the biggest ways of love. Yeah. Somehow it is like that. And when we see this orange color, orange is in color therapy. It's a color that is loosening you up. I hope that's the right word. It makes you lighter. It eases tensions. Let's say it like that. Yes, yellow is a very strong color for this, and orange has slightly more energy. It's not so like red. Red is so bam, but this is like loosening up, letting go of tightness and all of this, emotional tightness. So this can really be about connecting with others you like to talk about these topics, and it does not have to be long, or you don't have to be into mourning or grieving thoughts all the time. This can be 5 minutes of really good talking. They can give your soul more than like 2 hours talking and talking and talking, and nothing is coming around for your soul by it. Or you are just feeling more grief, all of this. So it is about connection also, connection to someone, and also about this loosening up and letting go a little bit, but also a little bit of, yes, letting go of tension. Very much about letting go of tension. So we have a look at the third card. The end is near. So this card is, of course, it is very funny, and it is like in the tradition. You would see here the death card in tarot. You would see here the Ace of Spades in playing card readings. You would see here the coffin in Lenormand. To compare it with the most used oracular decks, so to say. Yes. And it's always a matter where you are standing with these cards and with this card too. Do I want to see the end? Am I happy? Like, oh yes, this is finishing. Finally, I'm free, so to say. Like, for example, if you are learning and you will have exams or something like that, then it's like, well, the end is near, yeah. You are happy about it. But it can be also about situations in your life where you are thinking like, oh my gosh, I would like to have this in my life. And I don't want to let it go. And this hurts, and this is about pain, and it can be really both sides. It's always you will know the topics in your life right now, so you will know on which side you are. And maybe you don't know it, and you are like, what is she talking about? There is nothing so dramatical in my life right now. And this is also okay, because then the cards are more about action. It is more like homework, yeah, homework cards, I always call this. This is when the cards say, have a look at your life, what you might end in this case. So what would be easier in my life if I would end some things, if I would draw a line, so to say. Maybe if I would limit people coming into my life that are not good for me. Maybe if I would limit tasks or obligations or things like that are not good for me anymore. Maybe it's also about limiting your cell phone or limiting your social media intake and all of this. Yeah, so it might be also something you are consciously thinking of. Okay, the end is near, and it's not limiting like I won't look at my cell phone anymore or something like that. It's just, it can be also baby steps, so to say. If you see, well, I'm too much hanging in the internet, so to say, I need to change something. Then this is also about quitting. Yeah, quit something might also be this card. So when we put these cards together, I know I've talked a lot today, but somehow these cards bring up many ideas, although they are not a classical oracle. But in fact, you can read everything. Humanity has used almost anything in history in the past to read from it, so we can do this too. So when we put this together, it is, in short words, interconnectedness, shamanic approaches, let's say it like this. I'm very conscious when using this word, because it's used for everything and nothing in these days. But it's about feeling yourself into things and all of this, your consciousness, and it is about wisdom. It is about connection to the ancients, connection to your ancestors, to your loved ones on the other side, to the souls, soul birds, the classical soul birds, and also about wisdom, knowledge, knowing. You can also make the owl your power animal like that for this week, for making good decisions and things like that. You can always make the owl this, because it's a wonderful animal. It's a very strong power animal that is also connected to witchcraft, to intuition, reading the cards, all of that. It's a wonderful animal. Yeah, it's a wonderful animal power. It's also connected to death. I don't want to sugarcoat this, but it's more like connection to the ancestors. I have talked about the owl and Mother Holle and Neolithic times. We all had it, you know it. So you can make your own connection to this deep, deep symbol, tree of life, and owls and birds, also shamanic birds. It's so ancient and so strong and powerful even until today. Yeah, so when you are going into a library and you are seeing the owl on the book, sitting on the book, you will smirk and smile and know, because it's very, very ancient. So the second card is more a personal card. It's more about really searching for connection. It's also about thinking about your pets, about your animals. If you have loved animals here or on the other side, then this is also a topic. This is it's a very strong and positive card because of this orange, yeah, loosening, letting go of tight emotional things. It is really sunshine, warmth, yes, letting go of tightness, emotional tightness in any way. Yeah, and this is most easy when you do it together with others. So if you have an opportunity to do this in this week, or you can initiate a situation like this and do it. Yeah, it does not have to be long. Maybe you are like talking with your father about your departed mother, and he is not like talking about it too long, but you have a very nice 5-minute talk. So this is like a very good thing. Yeah, just as an example. And here the end is near. This card is to put it together as 3 possible things. You don't like that the end is near, then you have to face it and you have to work through it, and this is hard work. I don't want to sugarcoat it because it gets often sugarcoated, but these are the things we are really, this is at our core as human beings to go through this situation. It is like we say in German, nagging at your core. This really goes onto your bones. It's difficult to say in English. So it goes to your core. It's really core work, so to say, emotional core work, let's call it like this. It's not so easy, but sometimes life is like this and we don't want to sugarcoat. It can also be, on the other hand, like letting go and saying, yes, I am liberated, this is done, check mark. Yeah. And the third opportunity is like, this is a way the cards give you homework, so to say. So this is about the end is near. What do you want to finish? What would be easier and better if you would let go of it and you would have more space in your life? Yeah, this is also about making space in a positive way, in its positive outlooks. There is an emptiness afterwards, and this emptiness can also be very positive in a way that there is space for new things to grow. Yeah, so we are at the big topics of life when talking about this, and there are of course many emotions that are coming into it, and this is just natural. So I can just say at the ending of this video, always be tender with yourself when it comes to these topics. Always be very soft towards yourself and towards others, who might be sometimes strange when this topic comes up, but they have their reasons for being strange around it. So to say, it's always very emotional, and it is a very suppressed topic in our society and our culture, so this makes things not easier, really not easier. So always come back to the old if you need some help, if you need some support in this week, and I wish you a wonderful week. It's a very strong time of the year, so I wish you a wonderful time, and we will see each other next week again.